That's right. It's early. And we are here because we are loyal fans to you and to the Denver Broncos. Today is another episode of the Get Buck Game Day Show where the Denver Broncos take on the rivals who they have not lost to, the Kansas City Chiefs, hopefully breaking their undefeated record in Arrowhead Stadium. Guys, we are here up early in the morning because, as you know, the Bronco gentleman, myself, and the Mile High Viking, we have church on Sundays. But, as I said earlier, we are loyal to you as well. So, therefore, when we have noon games and on church games, we will be here early to speak to you. So, if anyone's up, we are up here with you to go over what the keys are to the game and how we're going to beat the Kansas City Chiefs. Guys, welcome to another episode of the Get Buck Game Day Show.
That was sounds like the horse is still asleep, Isaiah.
Yes, just like me, with sand in his eyes. But the horse, just like you and I, Johnny, are here early in the morning to talk about the Broncos. Who doesn't want to talk about the Broncos first in the morning? Johnny, how did you sleep last night? That is the most important question of the game.
Dude, I slept good. I'm gonna be honest, which is rare for me. Very, very rare for me. I'm usually with the PTSD dreams and all that, man. I'm like a 2 to 3 hour a night sleeper. Last night I managed to get 5, which for me is a big deal, man. So I'm feeling pretty good. I spent all of yesterday absolutely just dove in to creating all the content needed so that the new Orange and Blue Network show, Viva los Broncos, can go live.
Viva los Broncos.
Love it. Dude, it's a thing of beauty, and it was a lot of work, but it was a lot of fun. And man, I gotta tell you, man, I'm so freaking excited for that show to get off the ground. For those that don't know, there will be an entirely Spanish podcast here on the network coming up very soon called Viva los Broncos. And I just want to kind of preview with you guys real quick. Check out this logo for the upcoming show, Viva los Broncos, because it is pretty wicked.
Oh, you just had to show it off. You couldn't help yourself, huh? Yeah, that is a wicked logo. So,
dude, it's a good preview, and that is a wicked logo, and I don't care what you say. So it's coming. It's coming, and it's going to be so exciting.
Nothing Rhymes logo smack dab right in the middle as a gem in the forehead. I absolutely love it. But we are here early, and we got some viewers in here early. Thank you guys for being with us this early in the morning. This is our first time doing an 8 o'clock show when our game is not at 9. Like I said in the introduction, when possible on noon games, Johnny and I both go to church. So therefore, we will be trying to do 8 o'clock game day shows. The post-game show will be the normal time as always, about 20 to 30 minutes after the game. Is Jay hosting that today?
Yeah, he'll be here. I'll be here. And even if he
Yeah,
doesn't,
so
I'll be there.
the dream,
So
the dream will be there. So hosting that. But guys, since you guys are here, if you hear from the nothing, I'm sorry, if you hear from MHRT, go ahead over to the Orange and Blue Network, to the YouTube channel. Go ahead and like that channel, subscribe to that channel, hit that notification bell as well, and share this with your friends and family. We are on all the channels: YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, anything you can find, we are there. And if you guys are here from MHRT, go ahead over to Orange and Blue Network, subscribe to that
no,
channel, hit that
over at MHRT.
That's what I did the first time. I said from MHRT go to Orange and Blue. From MH.
Yeah, and then you said it again, only for MHRT.
You know exactly what I'm saying, Johnny. It's early in the morning, and Johnny's being a dick. So, you guys know what to do. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, and share this with your friends and family. Johnny, it's early in the morning, and not everybody might be coffee drinkers. Is there anything they can drink?
Well, off the top of my head, they might be able to drink some tea. You know, they can mainline caffeine. You know, take a syringe and just jam it in there. But instead of doing that, though, that might stop your heart, and we don't want that. The only thing we want stopping your heart is the Broncos' performance today in a good way. But if you're not wanting to mainline caffeine like that, the best way to get your caffeine other than coffee is Dubby Jitterless Energy Blend. That is the sponsor of today's show. You can see the link in the bio below. Dubby.gg for Dubby Jitterless Energy Blend. This stuff is absolutely incredible stuff. Dubby comes in a multitude of delicious flavors, and every single cup of Dubby has exactly 2 cups of coffee worth of caffeine. So definitely enough to kickstart your day. But the best part of it, it doesn't give you the jitters, and it does not give you the crash later. And the reason for that is that there is no sugar. There is no calories. There is no maltodextrin, no fillers, no artificial colors. It is all natural. It's nothing but amino acids, B vitamins, and nootropics, including their patented nootropic called Neurofactor, which helps keep you sharp throughout your day, and then caffeine derived from the coffee plant. It is great stuff because it doesn't have the sugar. You don't get the jitters or the crash later. I'm telling you guys, this is the stuff that you want, and we swear by it here at the Orange and Blue Network. So go on over to Dubby, get yourself the dub by getting you some Dubby. In the checkout, we're going to make that dub even sweeter, though, because you're going to punch in code NRWOB10. That's NRWOB10 at the checkout. Will get you 10% off your order. Guys, the Broncos going to get a dub today against Kansas City, and you are going to get yourself a dub. Check out Dubby.
Wonderful. Thank you for that, Johnny. And yeah, we swear by it. Me and Johnny were just having a conversation about it yesterday. Legitimately, we were having a conversation about Dubby. We're not going to say the specifics, but we were. So guys, just watch out for that. There's going to be more stuff coming out about that. All right, Johnny, it is 8:15 in the morning.
Yep.
The Broncos play today at noon, and we play the undefeated Kansas City Chiefs, who are also first in the AFC West and our division rival. The road to
They're
the
also
playoffs,
first in the NFL, bud.
And the NFL. The road to the playoffs, the road to the Super Bowl goes through Kansas City. Now, this is a big game. Because we lost so horribly to Baltimore last week, so this is kind of an expected win by Kansas City. But I don't fear the Chiefs as much as I fear the Ravens. I don't fear their offense as much as I fear the Ravens' offense. As you see against the Cincinnati Bengals, the Ravens, Joe Burrow had 430 yards, 4 touchdowns, no interceptions. So the way the Baltimore Ravens has set themselves up is their offense is going to score no matter what. They're just going to get in a shootout. And they're lucky they played the Ravens week 1. I don't believe this Chiefs is that team. I think we have a possibility to beat them. I think right now we would still have the 7th spot going 5-5. I think this is a team that wants to keep their head above water.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
After last week's butt whooping, I think there's some possibilities today.
Yeah. Well, I mean, okay. So, not this last week, because during this last week we had election day, which congratulations to our new president. Well done. It was a hard fought race, and regardless of whether you came down on the winning side or your vote, the side that you voted for did not win. You know what? He won the popular vote, and he won and he won the Electoral College. So, this was a true win for this president. And in the end, let's get behind him, all of us, please, because we need to come together as a nation. That's all. That's the only political statement I'm going to make on this show. That's it. But because of Election Day, we didn't have Nothing Rhymes with Orange and Blue. However, the week before on Nothing Rhymes with Orange and Blue podcast, it was myself, Jay, and Elias Balderrama, the Bronco Libre. And we were talking about it. And we were talking about this 2-game road trip, Baltimore and Kansas City, and what our predictions were, for the 2-game road trip. And I had actually said, I think we go 1-1 on the road. And I had said at the time that if we were going to lose one game on this 2-game road trip, it was going to be in Baltimore. And I'm standing behind that statement. I still believe that the Broncos can get this win over the Chiefs. Now, I will say this. The Chiefs are scary. They are undefeated. They're undefeated. And they have not played up to the level that we expect from the Chiefs. They have not, especially the offense. However, somehow, some way, even in some close shootout games, they are still undefeated. So that's a testament to their coaching, and that's a testament to to their ability to get the job done. So it's going to be up to the Broncos today to get the job done better. And they can have that bounce back, right? I mean, they spend all week in the film room and in practice getting ready for this. Last week was an anomaly. It was a bad day. Everybody has them, and I believe that this team as a whole just had a bad day against Baltimore. And I think that just like we said when Baltimore lost to the Browns, they were going to be out for blood. I really want to be, and I think it'll be that the loss in Baltimore chummed the waters, and now the Broncos are circling. They're out for blood.
I think that the 2 most important remaining games are this game against the Chiefs and the second game against the Chargers. I believe if we can beat the Chiefs, getting their record to 1 loss, stopping the undefeated record is that's a mojo for any team in this NFL. Stopping another team from being undefeated. Let's go back to the 1985 Bears, who were also undefeated but went into Miami with Dan Marino. And Dan Marino were there defending the 1972 Dolphins undefeated record. That's the only team to go undefeated and win the Super Bowl. So Dan Marino and the Dolphins had to defend their Miami Dolphins record. And the 1985 Bears, considered one of the best Super Bowl teams of all time, the best defense of all time, went into Miami. And Miami beat them because the Chicago Bears were undefeated as well. So it's a very ironic game. And I think this can be a pride of Denver as well as breaking the undefeated record, especially against the Chiefs. But like you said, Johnny, between Baltimore and Kansas City, it's much better to lose the AFC conference game and win the division game. That's much better. That's much better for players because if we go 6-4, we have a win against the Chiefs that puts us back second in the AFC West. I think that puts us second in the AFC West. Even though the Chargers right now on the tiebreaker, us beating the Chiefs would propel us up in the AFC West. And I think right now we're still 7th. Below us is the 4-6 Bengals and the 4-5 Colts, and I believe the Colts play a good team today. They're expected to lose to. So there is some space between the 7th seed and the 8th seed, where if we lose this game 5-5, we still have that 7th seed. But that's not the culture Sean Payton has created. The culture and the coaching that Sean Payton isn't let's tread water. Let's barely make it. It's a rebuild year. We're better off than what we were. Let's just see what we can do. No, this team wants to win. This team wants to win. And I think that's where I'm really excited for this game because this is a big game. 6-4, up in the division. This just lets people know that, hey, even though this is quote unquote a rebuild year or a start over year, we're in this thing. We're rookie quarterback, whatever the case may be. I think PJ Locke coming back is going to be a big boost for that secondary. And one of the things I want to talk about today, Johnny, was if you can you pull up the injury, the activation report from Twitter? See if you can pull it up, and I'll talk about that while you're pulling that up, and then I'll pass it over to you.
Yeah, that's no problem. Go ahead and get started. I'll find it.
It wasn't the injury report; it was the activation list. So Quan Alexander did not get activated this week. Zach Cunningham did. which is very interesting. And what I'm starting to see with this is Quan Alexander had the highest grade. I did see a few missed tackles by him, but I think he got all the elevations he needed. And in order to bring him up to 53, they had to take someone else down. And I don't think Sean Payton was comfortable with removing someone from the 53. So instead of giving Quan Alexander an elevation to assigning him to 53, he's just going to use 3 elevations for Zach Cunningham. Now it's going to be very, very interesting to see the type of defense Vance Joseph plays. And it seems like that we're having an in-season inside linebacker competition. With Alex Singleton out, you have Cody Barton, who's been wearing the green dot. He's not, I think, if I'm correct, Johnny, Cody Barton's on a 1-year deal. He's on a 1-year deal.
I don't remember if he's on a 1-year deal or not. I'd have to pull up Spot Track and look.
Don't worry about that. I'm pretty sure he's on a 1-year deal. And you got Quan Alexander on a 1-year deal. I think this is Justin Sternad's contract year.
Yeah.
So you got Cody Barton, Zach Cunningham, Quan Alexander, Justin Sternad, all basically on 1-year contracts because it's Justin Sternad's contract year. So you're seeing an in-season interior linebacker competition. And so one of the things I'm going to be looking for is a lot of people are saying Zach Cunningham is a much better pass coverage linebacker than Quan Alexander. So is this a one-on-one against Travis Kelce? Is this a guy that can, maybe not follow Xavier Worthy across the field, but he can stay in his zone and pass across the mesh routes and the drag routes, so that way, you're in the area. So I'm very curious to see what kind of defense they're going to play today. Are they going to respond from last week where they got 41 points put on their head? Are they going to come out and have a chip on the shoulder? Is PJ Luck going to raise that room? You haven't pulled up yet, Johnny?
I'm having trouble finding it on Twitter, brother.
If you just go to Mike Kliss's Twitter and just type in Zach Cunningham. If you go to Mike Kliss's Twitter, you'll probably find it faster than anywhere else. Is this defense going to rebound? Devon Key last week was absolutely horrific. Now, is that the reason why we lost? One of the reasons.
It was a listen. Last week, just in general, Isaiah, was just a bad day, man. There's no other way to say it. It was a bad day for this team. And Devon Key played literally crap. But
here's a couple of things I saw. One, on the defensive side, I think not having Devon Key, because we did a good job of stopping Derrick Henry for a little bit, but I think having Devon Key in there and seeing that he wasn't ready, I think that can take confidence out of a defense, because if you're used to playing at an elite level with all 11 men and then one person misses and it's a huge gap, you kind of lose confidence in whether the guy next to you can do his job, especially when, what's the offensive coordinator's name for the Ravens? Greg Roman, I believe, is especially taking advantage of that. He sees that, so now he's taking advantage of that. Those over routes constantly, whether it's an over route to Zay Flowers or it was an over route to Mark Andrews, not having that safety. Now, if you go back to PJ Locke's play against the Raiders, it was an over route, but PJ Locke mistimed his jump. But he was right there for the interception, missed the jump. We missed that. We missed that communication. So I'm curious to see how PJ Locke comes back in and steps in. I'm curious to see how Zach Cunningham comes in and steps in. So that's going to be very interesting. And the other thing I was going to say,
I'm still trying to find this. I've got injury reports for the two teams, but I'm not really finding an activation report here.
If you're not on, if you're on Mike Kliss's page, then go to his search bar and his profile and type in Zach Cunningham. It should pop up. The other thing, the offensive side of the ball, that I'm curious about. Number one, I want to see if Courtland Sutton can have 3 100 receiving yards this game. His third 100 receiving yards in 3 games. Because now he's, it wasn't talked about much because we lost, but 2 in a row. And the other thing I want to talk about was what that loss was. If you look at Cincinnati with Jamar Chase's numbers, Cincinnati's numbers, Joe Burrow's numbers, what you can see is the Denver Broncos aren't ready yet for a shootout game. I think if we had stopped the Ravens before the end of the first half, I think the score would have been closer. It would have been a different game. Maybe 28-17 would have been the score. But I think it just showed that we're not ready yet for that shootout game. We were there for the first quarter, close to the end of the first half, and then after that they separated. Um, and that let the team know, hey, we're not there yet. We don't have the weapons there yet. Um,
Agreed.
Sheesh, Shawnee. You haven't found it. Well, you don't have to find it now
No,
because
I've
we've
got it.
already
I've got
discussed.
it. I've got it right here. I've got the tweet right here. Mike Kliss. In part because of Mike Kliss tweeted, in part because inside linebacker Quan Alexander has used up his practice squad elevations. Broncos instead are elevating veteran inside linebacker Zach Cunningham for game versus Chiefs. Fullback Michael Burton is also elevated from the practice squad for the third time.
Yes, so it was due to practice squad elevations, the numbers, roster play. Uh, but I want to see who's it. With Alex Singleton come back, who's going to get that contract? Or else are we going to go elsewhere? Are we going to go to the draft? Um, I don't have faith in Drew Sanders because he hasn't been healthy. Um, so that's gonna be very, very interesting. But yeah, back what I was saying, Cortland Sutton seems to have found his. It seems as if Cortland Sutton in year 7 is he hitting his prime, Johnny,
Yes, which
or has he always been in his prime? We just didn't know.
that's a tough one to answer, Isaiah. I mean,
Yeah.
I believe that we've seen I mean, last year by far was just a phenomenal season for him. He was a human highlight reel last season.
Yep.
Uh, so what I think we talked about this, and I hate to say this. I hate just saying this because I like Court. On this team, he's wide receiver 1. Yeah. But let's be honest. On another team, he'd be wide receiver 2, wide receiver 3.
I wouldn't say 3. I wouldn't go say 3.
Maybe not 3, but
Actually,
2.
you know what?
Maybe not
I take that
2.
back. On most, because what we're thinking about is when we say this, we think about the top receivers, and if he was on the Bengals, he'd be wide receiver 2. If he was on the Niners, he actually might be wide receiver 1 with Ayuk injured. If he was on the Ravens, he'd be wide receiver 1. He'd be wide receiver 1 on a lot of teams. But when we compare him to the top receivers and his production output, we say he'd be wide receiver 2. He'd honestly be one of the best wide receiver 2s. If he was wide receiver 2, I think he'd put up. I think he put up like Chris Godwin numbers, because when you have like Mike Evans and Chris Godwin, I think Cortland Sutton can really put up. But I think the difference between last year and this year, which is very interesting, last year was about touchdowns. He was 4th in the NFL in receiving touchdowns. This year seems to be about yards. That's a very interesting change from last year to this year.
Contrast.
Yeah, it's a different contrast. And I want to see, Johnny, really quickly. Which one do you like better? Do you like 10 touchdown Cortland Sutton, or do you like 100 yards a game Cortland Sutton?
That's an easy one, and you might not like my answer. 100 yards a game Cortland Sutton. Because listen, if you can put the team in position, if he's having 100-yard games, that means the Broncos are moving the ball down the field. And if they're moving the ball down the field, that's getting them in the red zone. If that's getting them in the red zone, that gives them more chances with other, whether it be Cortland Sutton or somebody else, to get a touchdown, better chances. So yeah, the human highlight reel in the end zone last season was amazing, but I'd rather see him getting more yards, because at least that means that we're moving the ball down the field and putting the team, not the player, in better positions to score.
Yeah, and I think that's a valid point, because I think when some of his touchdowns were red zone, some of them weren't. I think when you're the 10 touchdown guy, I think you get keyed on. You definitely get keyed on in the red zone, but I think when you're 100 receiving yards, you have to game plan in between the red zones. That's a different game plan, because as they always say, when you're in the red zone, the field shrinks, the playbook shrinks, and the defense can key on you more because the things you can do shrink. But when you're in between the 20s, that's a different ball game, because now you have to worry about the run game. You have to worry about Bo Nix's legs. Then you have to worry about Sean Payton scheming him open, running across the field. Yeah, if he's going to run a 10 and 12 yard stop, or if he's going to run a slant, then you see a 12 to 17 yard dig, or then you see a back shoulder sideline throw. So now there's a plethora of things you have to worry about, and it's going to be very interesting. Maybe this year, if that Troy Franklin, I think I'm more interested. Now, here's my next question for you, Johnny.
Okay.
for this team, and let's just say I just want to say I might change it, but I'm going to just say for this year, whose connection are you more interested in seeing mature? Vele and Nix or Franklin and Nix?
Ooh.
Yeah, I'm on fire in the morning. I think we should do this more in the morning. I'm on fire.
Listen, man, this is a podcast, not a philosophy class. Okay,
I am on fire.
You're also very humble. Very humble.
Thank you.
All right. Svele or Nick, which connection do I want to see mature more this season? Franklin and Nix or Vele and Nix, you said.
Mm-hmm.
You know what? I'm gonna go with Vele and Nix.
We're on the same page all day. Got it.
And the reason is, listen, Troy Franklin has had bricks for hands. And you know,
he can't get the ball well.
He can't. He sucks at securing the ball right now. And I'm not saying that's you know his future. He can fix that, but we already know that he has a connection with Bo Nix. They were on fire together in college. They have a connection. Vele, on the other hand, this is still, he is better at securing the ball. He has better hands than
a better all-around receiver
does right now. And yet he isn't getting the targets that Troy Franklin is because of the connection that Troy Franklin has with Bo Nix. And if the Vele and Nix relationship can blossom and grow, then and at the same time Franklin can just fix his hand problem, then we will be able to see a lot more just good play all around, in my opinion.
I'm gonna agree with you. I'm gonna go with Vele. I think they're both rookies. Vele is 26, 27. He's older, so depending on his health status, his tenure in the NFL could be shorter than most, but he's here. Number one, I don't think he's dropped a pass all year. And I think he's caught every pass.
Vele?
Yes.
He had a couple drops early on, early in the season in those first two games.
He didn't play the first two games. He got injured because he was on the IR for 4 weeks after the Seattle game.
Maybe I'm wrong about the timeline, but I know that he has dropped at least a couple because I remember talking about it specifically on the Buck Your Feelings postgame show.
I don't remember, but he
not necessarily as egregious as, say, the Troy Franklin drop against the Raiders.
I think he definitely should have the snaps that Lil Jordan Humphrey has and the plays that Lil Jordan Humphrey has. He seems a lot more reliable, and I think that's a connection that's already there because of Vele. Because the thing about Vele is one thing I like about him is he's humble, he's confident in his abilities, and he's got a good football IQ. He doesn't, when he's out there, he doesn't look like the game's too big for him. Like he doesn't know what he's doing. He's made 2 or 3 excellent scramble drill plays. Him and Bo Nix seem to have that scramble drill idea already down. When the ball's thrown his way, he catches the ball. So he doesn't seem like the moment's too big for him. If Bo Nix runs out of the pocket, hey, I'll dash up the field, for a 40-yard gain. Or, if 2 times in a row, Bo Nix is throwing these out routes where they're low and away, and he's gone down and caught him every single time. And then he gets back up and he runs back to the huddle. I want him to have his first touchdown. This is what I really want. I want Bailey to have his first touchdown because I think he deserves it. I think he's earned it. I think he needs more targets. For sure. And regarding to Franklin, I'm going to say this about Franklin the same way. I'm going to use the same standard we use for Mims that we use for Franklin. Mims has Franklin's a better receiver, but Mims has better hands. And what I mean by that, the same standard is if this draft comes next year, because I'm assuming we signed a receiver in the free agency, and I'm assuming we draft a receiver in his second round. I'm gonna go second round. If Courtland Sutton comes back and has 1 more year on his contract, and we sign a free agent receiver, and we draft a tight end in the first round, and Vele's already shown to be reliable, and we draft a receiver in the second, somebody's snaps are getting cut. And my thing is, if you cannot show right now toward this end of the season when the competition isn't there, that you can be that guy that, because he creates excellent separation, one of the best in the NFL creating separation. He's 6'3". He's tall, but he doesn't look like he can create separation like that. And he's fast and he's quick. And if you have these attributes, but you can't execute now, what makes you think you're going to be able to do that and step up when Sean Payton brings in and signs T. Higgins or Chris Godwin off free agency, a veteran who puts up numbers, in addition to Courtland Sutton, and drafts a second-round receiver who may not necessarily have those drop issues?
Yeah, that's an excellent point. It all comes down to can you fix what's wrong with you? I mean, I say it that, but can you fix what's wrong with you? You are like, okay, but we need to talk a little more specifically on the game, but but at the same time, when in regards to Troy Franklin, something's got to give, man. Like you were drafted specifically, and I know that it sucks to hear this. He's a good receiver. He was a good receiver in college, right? He wasn't a jump off the page receiver. He was good, but he was specifically drafted because of the connection that he had with the Broncos' new rookie starting quarterback.
Correct.
And if you were drafted for that reason specifically, then you need to be able to produce based on that connection, or you're not going to be here much longer.
Correct. He's not going to be here.
It's so simple. It's sad to say it that way because I know that sucks for him. That to think that he may not have gone to the Broncos, other than the fact that he had the connection with Bo. And then
he may be next year. If he can't turn it around, he may be next year's Mims. And the difference between him and Mims is a Pro Bowl returner. So he has
that's all he's got going for him right now. Yeah,
he has a spot on the team. Troy Franklin doesn't have that. So let's say, like I said, you bring a draft second round. I'm looking at, and we're going to transition to talking more about the game. While I'm talking, Johnny,
and I have a question for you regarding that.
Wonderful.
I've been waiting to throw it at you.
Pull up Pro Football Reference, the comparison of the two teams. He can be next year's Marvin Mims, and he doesn't bring on special. Now, not necessarily saying he'll be on the practice squad because he might be poached off that. But if you're going to carry a 50, if you're going to be on the roster, what are you going to be? Wide receiver
7,
4, 5? Because you got Sutton, free agent wide receiver, draft wide receiver, Vele.
Okay, so what I've got PFR up. What is it you're wanting me to? What are you wanting from me?
You'll see the comparisons. You should see the team rank comparisons and team stats for this game playing each other, and I just want to pull those up, and that's something we can talk about in comparison after you get to your question for me. But yeah, it's an incredibly simple question. It's a very simple question. This may be the contest between the two best defenses in the NFL right now. We're still top.
Broncos. What?
We're still top after that Ravens game. We should be ranked 5 now.
Yeah, they're top 5.
Yeah.
I mean, and here's the thing. Yeah, we had a bad showing defensively against Baltimore, but at the same time,
this game is a turnover game. You have to win the turnover margin.
But I've already said it. I'm viewing last week against Baltimore as an anomaly defensively. The Broncos defense has been way better this season than they showed last week. They just had an off day.
I think
I know a lot of people were like the Broncos hadn't played anybody. I'm like, bull. They shut down the best offense in the NFL and the Buccaneers at that time, and they did it. And they did it beautifully. And
no one else was able to do that. When Mike Evans and Chris Godwin were healthy together, no one else was able to hold them to 7 points.
Agreed. Okay, so here's pro. So I just want to know: can Bo Nix and the offense, in your opinion, get it done against Chris Jones and the defense?
Yes, I think our offensive line pass pro is very well. I think, and here's the thing: Bo Nix has matured a lot. Him and Cortland Sutton have a very good relationship, and I think I'm watching Sean Payton's schemes. He's excellent. He's excellent at calling offensive plays. Excellent. Bo Nix, as second half of that Baltimore game, third quarter, he looked a little flushed in the pocket again, but for the first half, he looked calm. He was staying in the pocket. He was throwing the ball. I think he's throwing the ball in the right places. I think these guys have to just start making plays. I think the run game has to get going as well, which was going to lead me to my next question, which we're going to talk about. Sean Payton last week said he wants to see more of Estime. So he came from the doghouse with the fumbles. He had a couple carries and, no fumbles, which is the bare minimum for a running back. Literally the bare minimum is don't fumble the ball. I don't think anything could be more bare minimum. But he had a good run, almost a touchdown. And Sean Payton says he wants to see more of Estime. Javonte's looking like he won't be on this team next year.
That seems to be the writing on the wall.
What are you expecting? What are you expecting, Johnny, from Estime?
From Estime? This
is
tough, man. Because I haven't seen enough from Estime to say anything. He had a decent showing against Baltimore last week. He had what was it, 7.2 yards per carry, something like that. I mean, he looked better. He looked better.
He looked hungry.
But right now, I'm still struggling with this fumble issue because he's only had one game. He didn't fumble last week, and that's great. Good job. You did your job. But it's still just one game where you haven't fumbled. You know what I mean? Like, to me, just like how I can't sit here and say that the Broncos defense, is bad because they lost to the Baltimore Ravens, because to me that, based on their other performances this season, that's an anomaly. The same goes right now for me in my mind with Estime, because he's, he had a good showing against Baltimore. That's great. Good job, buddy. You did your job right. However, everything else is telling me that that's an anomaly, because every other time he's touched the ball, at least once he has fumbled.
Yes,
that's a problem. So I don't know what I expect to see. I don't know if either of them will be on this team next year if he continues to fumble the ball, because I'm going to tell you right now, Sean Payton's not like my high school coach. If you fumble the ball and you fumble it a lot, you're not going to be on this team very long.
If neither of those running backs are on this team next year, that's a huge issue.
Yeah.
For this Broncos team. Huge issue.
Real quick, what was it you were wanting? Because I've got PFR pulled up. I'm seeing like a comparison of all the matchups between these two teams. However, it's not showing anything about today's game. So what is it you're asking me to pull up?
Let me see if I can pull it up.
Right now, it's just showing that the Kansas City Chiefs lead the series against the Broncos 72 games to 56 games. So I'm not sure, what else to look at here. But
let me see.
In talking further,
let's see if I can pull it up.
You know what? Let's just
go. Yeah, go ahead, Johnny.
We're at like 38 minutes. Okay, well, we're at like 38 minutes, so we got to get this rolling, because I know that you need to get out of here sooner rather than later.
Well, did you cook today for breakfast? Did you cook breakfast for me this morning?
Did I cook breakfast for you?
Are you going to cook breakfast? I asked you if you cooked breakfast. Did you cook breakfast?
No, not yet.
Are you going to cook?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, why don't you tell us what you got?
I know we kick it like no one else. We kick it like no one else. Listen out, there ain't nothing like this. I know we kick it like no one else. We kick it like no one else. Listen out, there ain't nothing like this.
Dude, I always get so pumped about that. I always do, man. I can't help it. All right, so
it's early in the morning.
So you want to know what's for breakfast?
Yes, because normally
you want to know what my game. You want to know what my game day food is too?
Ooh, yeah. Let me know.
All right, so breakfast. I'm making a skillet. Diced potatoes, bell peppers, onions, jalapenos, cheese, and then scrambled eggs with sausage, bacon, and ham, all mixed up. just a giant, beautiful conglomeration in a bowl, and then some delicious Cholula green pepper hot sauce, which is a jalapeno poblano hot sauce over the top of all of that, with a big ice cold glass of milk. That's breakfast. For game day, keeping it kind of simple today, but it's still going to be fun. We are doing little smokies, little cocktail weenies with barbecue sauce in the crock pot. Very simple. Something easy. You can stick with a toothpick and shove in your mouth while watching the game. It's great. Along with a Mexican style bean dip. It's pretty straightforward. Brown, ground hamburger, some taco seasoning, refried beans, olives, cheese, and lettuce with some tortilla chips. And for me, as always, hot sauce, because I eat hot sauce in just about everything. So that's game day, baby. That's game day food, baby. I'm hungry. I'm so hungry, dude.
Well, Johnny carried my high menu because I want to have time to cook today. As soon as I leave here, hop in the shower, heading to work. My pastor does cook breakfast almost every Sunday.
You mean church? You mean church,
yeah.
not work. It ain't work to go to church.
Sorry, I said work.
But hey, I've been to your church though, and every time, every Sunday, there's like a breakfast potluck at your church, so you're gonna eat.
Yeah, he either brings in breakfast or he cooks it. It's called breakfast with the word. So we sit down and we study with it. So that would be what I'll be eating. But the game's at noon today, so therefore I won't be able to come home and cook. But I do plan on cooking later on this evening. I'm going to use my oil fry. I'm going to fry some chicken. And then I'm going to go by Walmart and pick up some ingredients for some baked macaroni and cheese. So I'm going to have some fried chicken and baked macaroni and cheese if I am not lazy. So we should definitely start. I think we should start and we should have the fans in the comment section do it too. I think we should definitely start posting our Mile High menus, whether it's on Twitter or whatever the case may be. So if you're cooking your skillet for breakfast, you better have some pictures to back that up. Or if we're cooking weenies for toothpicks or fried chicken and baked mac and cheese, it's time to showcase our cooking skills. Because we've been doing Mile High menus.
I'll try to remember to do that today, but if I don't, I don't.
No, don't expect it. But we got 12 minutes left, so we're gonna go ahead and finish our last segment. And I've got the numbers up ready to go on you.
Oh, I've got them.
I'ma run it every time. Give me mine. Going up, need no decline. Money line. I'ma run it.
Yeah,
run it every time. You say
right.
you got them on number two. But you can go ahead and read them off.
Yeah. I mean, it's a pretty simple day, and I feel weird. I'm sitting here rocking a polo because it's church day.
It's nice. I meant to say that earlier. I like it. You look like Jay.
Yeah, thank you. I'm gonna go. I get to go to church today, rocking my Broncos polo.
Nice.
So,
nice.
All right. So here we go. The odds on for this game. The Broncos are currently 7.5 point underdogs to the Kansas City Chiefs. Now I'm going to say this. Usually I'm very insulted when we get thrown the under like that. However, they are undefeated. They are the defending Super Bowl champions, 2-time, back-to-back defending Super Bowl champions. So the fact that we're 7.5 point underdogs to an undefeated Super Bowl champion defending team right now, I'm not feeling the insult so much.
And you're not the only one. I've seen a lot of people saying on Twitter this morning and the last couple of days, they're not nervous or anxious like they were against the Ravens. We kind of saw where we were, like I said earlier, we're not there yet, but we're also it's not as big of a spread as the Ravens game. So you said this
that one was insulting.
Yes.
7.5 point underdogs.
It was insulting the other way because they won by much more. But so here and there. What is the over-under?
The over-under on this game is 41.5.
41.5. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and go first to close us out. All right.
And hey, after the show, hang around for just a second, if you would.
If I have a second.
For a second. You will. I'm
going to have to go with. Obviously, I'm going to take the Broncos to win. But I'm going to go 2017. I'm going to say we cover the spread.
What did you say it was? 2017?
Yeah, I'm going to take the under. 20-17, taking the under. We cover the spread.
Okay. All right. But 20-17 doesn't cover the spread. The spread is 7.5 points.
I meant we cover yeah, that is covering 7.5 points, and we win by 3. That's covering.
No, you got to win by
That is
7.5 points to cover the spread.
We have to win. We have to win. We have to lose by 7.5 or shorter. Anything within 7.5 points is covering the spread.
Okay.
Anything above 7.5 is not covering.
I don't bet a lot. Jay's our betting guy, but he just isn't. He's not here, so I'm doing my best.
That much I know. Covering the spread is either you're within it. So if it's 7.5 points, if you're outside of 7.5 points, you don't cover the spread. So if I'd say we win by 28-17, the Broncos don't cover the spread. We beat the spread. I think we cover the spread. I think we're within 7. I think we're within 7.5 points, and we cover.
All right.
But I take the under.
17. Low scoring game. Close. By Broncos by a field goal. All right, I like it. I'm actually going to. I'm going to stick with your. I'm actually going to take the over on this one. I'm taking the over.
Okay.
I'm doing
What's
it.
the score?
I'm going to take Broncos to win at a score of 24-21.
That's
Still by a field goal. It's barely covering the spread, but Broncos take the win by a field goal still. But Broncos put up 3 touchdowns and a field goal, and the Chiefs put up 3 touchdowns.
I'll take that. I will take that. Either way, a win's a win.
I think it'll be close. I think that field goal will come in. I think that winning field goal or the field goal will be a winning field goal, and it will come in like a 2-minute drill.
I like it. That means that
winning kick.
So according to the Broncos and the Mile High Viking, we will be coming back to Buck Your Feelings postgame show 6-4 with a win. And if we come out 6-4 beating the Chiefs, guys, I need you to understand this. We are damn near clinched the wild card spot.
Let me. There was a thing, and the Mike Kliss put out on Twitter. I'm not going to go look for it again, but I'm going to say it right now. The Broncos' odds of making the playoffs with a win today are 72%.
It's
if
almost
the Broncos lose this game, our odds of making the playoffs drop to 43%. Currently, we're sitting.
That's barely
we are literally sitting at 50% chance of making the playoffs.
As we close out, remember this going into this game. We play the Colts and we play the Bengals later on. So both those teams, the Bengals are 4-6, and the Colts are 4-5. Supposed to go 4-6 today. So if we go 6-4, or even if we go 5-5, those guys are still behind us. So that 43% chance is just below 50-50. But going 6-4, beating the Chiefs, and then we play the Colts. If we beat the Chiefs, those Colts and Bengals, those would look like wins to us. That's damn near a clinched wild card 7 spot. We'll play the number 2 seed, which will either be the Ravens or the Bills.
The Ravens. Oh. It'd be the Ravens and the Bills, and I'd be much more afraid of the Ravens.
Regardless, we're in the playoffs and we broke the streak. I don't want to. This is going to sound horrible. I'm okay with a wild card exit because that means we got to the wild card.
Yeah, we got to the. Listen, if we get to the playoffs with or without a win in the playoffs. If we get to the playoffs, that's our milestone. That's our new baseline.
That's our new baseline. That's our floor because from every season we're expected because if we can make the playoffs with a rookie quarterback,
about
a $77 million dead cap hit, bare minimum nothing, and we make the playoffs, we're expected to make the playoffs. So that's the expectation, guys. But we're going to go ahead and
becomes our new baseline.
That's our floor, and that's what we're looking forward to. So let's come out here and let's get it done. And let's come out 6-4, beating the Kansas City Chiefs. That means we'll be 2-0 against the Chiefs. The Chiefs wouldn't have beat us in 2 games, and I love that, and I love the sound of that. Guys, if you hear from the Orange and Blue Network, go ahead over to MHRT. Go ahead, subscribe to their channel on YouTube. Go ahead on Twitter and follow them. Go on Facebook and follow them. Go on Twitch and follow them. Like this video. Subscribe to their channel. Hit that notification as well. If you hear from MHRT, go ahead over to the Orange and Blue Network. Go ahead over to our YouTube. Subscribe to the channel. Go to our Twitter. Follow us. Go to our Facebook and follow us. Hit the like button. Hit the share button. Hit the subscribe button. and hit that notification bell so you can come and listen and you don't miss any of these podcasts, because we do have the Buck Your Feelings post-game show with Jay, the Denver Dream Weaver, and then I'll have Viking, and hey, I may even be there. But those two will definitely be there, so you don't want to miss your fan faves, guys. We love you guys. Want to give you guys one last mile high salute before we get out of here. Hey, if you're going to church, go to church. All right. If not, we're praying for you. We love you guys, and let's talk after we get this win. Johnny, you and I will be talking during the game. We love you.